Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So we are already live. So we are here today for the public speaking hearing session of Instant School. So whatsoever, today we are gonna start with a few introduction about the whole fact, and then we are gonna move on to the speeches of our fellow speakers today. However, first of all, the thing I need to clarify is that those of you who don't know about Instant School, I would clarify it as Instant School is an organization where you can learn many things instantly, not only subjective um, or only about admission tests or subjects, rather also about public speaking and many other clubs we have. And all in all, after this public speaking club that has been held, we are going to have a competition that we already know that you guys have to submit their video in the group, in the club that we have built. However, first of all, I would like to clarify today we are going to have mostly five speakers, first of all. So before we start with them, we're gonna listen to their title, and after we are done with their speeches, we're gonna listen to the review that I'm gonna give them about their speeches, and there would be an overall session on how we can develop ourselves, how we can develop the way we speak, and all these things all together. So here I am, Tahmid Abdul Dashfin from Mirjapur Cadet College. Today we're gonna start with the first speakers of ours. Rodel, are you ready, sir?
Yes, I am ready.
All right, I'll just set the timer so that we can start out. Wait a minute, sir. So if you're ready, please introduce yourself and tell us your title on the topic, and then we'll go.
Okay. This is Mahik Tajar Rodel from Mirzapur Cadet College, and my today's topic is climate change.
All right, sir. If you're ready, please do start your speech.
Okay, so this is 2075. I am celebrating my 17th birthday with my childrens. They're asking me about my past, how my childhood passed. I said them, in my childhood, I visited Sundarbans, I visited Cox's Bazar, and many more natural resources. They asked me, Dad, what is Sundarbans? I said, that was in forest. But what is forest? They don't know. They blamed us because we do not save the trees. They don't know about trees at all. They don't know about what is a forest, what is the resources of nature. They don't know. They blamed us. They talked to me that we are the we are the guilty. We are guilty for this. We are guilty for ruining their future. We are the guilty for ruining their present. So, respected respected judges and all the listeners, assalamu alaikum and a very good evening to you all. So today's topic of mine is climate change. We all know about what is climate change is. We all know how it occurs. We know everything, but we don't do anything. It is our fault. We don't do anything about climate change. Okay, let me say climate change has two sides, two reasons. One is natural reasons, another is human reasons. So natural human reasons is most probably more affected for climate change rather than the natural resources and natural reasons. Man, due to his need and greed, somehow and greed, has done many activities that not only harm the environment and harm ourselves too. Many plant and animals are species and going extinct due to human activities. Human activities that harm the climate, including deforestation, is many things and harming our present, harming our future, and harming everything around us. Yes, what we do now is not affecting now, but it will affect many years later. It will affect thousands of years later or hundreds of years later. Yes, you can say our past generation did it. What can we do now? It is too late. I'm saying it is not late. It is the time to do. It is the time to raise again. It is the time to resist against the climate change. Yes, climate is more
Thank
powerful
you,
than
sir.
us. Yes, nature is more powerful than us. And I would like to conclude here, like, you can't go back and change the starting, but you can start a new beginning to end a happy ending. With this hope, I would like to conclude here. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for taking us such a courage and giving us such an encouraging and insightful and mesmerizing speech, I must say. So, before I go for any kind of review, there I would like to mention a few things that was really great about his speech. First of all, he started with the story. A story is something that can relate with people, and from the very beginning of the story, that hooked us up in his story. Because when we are listening to his story, we could realize that he is trying to portray a future that we are going to have, but he did not leak anything about his topic. So there was a disguise and there was a story. And it's the story that was in the introduction that made his speech, the starting of his speech, eloquent or articulated, or I should rather say persuasive. So thank you for such a great starting, not only about the starting, throughout the whole speech, or throughout the 3 minutes that he has spoken, he was confident enough. He knew what he was trying to say. And what he spoke made sense. So in public speaking, that we have all of us have to remember that when we speak, we need to be confident enough that we do know what we are trying to say. And about the conclusion, after the whole body, after all the examples he gave, after he stated how, when, why, he ended with one ending, one quote, that we cannot change the beginning, but we can start a new beginning to ensure a happy ending. So that was the moment. That was the moment of the speech that can make everyone feel, wow, what a journey. So that's why I would like to really encourage all of you to learn from his speech that how to use the stories, how to use those quotes, how to use the whole structuring of your speech. Nevertheless, there is always criticism. There is always room to improve yourself. So to improve yourself, I would suggest that in a speech, what makes a speech easy to digest is that the naturality of that speech. When you give pauses, when you give intonation, when you rise your voice and you go low down, that's the moment when it feels natural, like you are telling us a story that really happened. And that's the moment when your intonation and your pauses all together make the change, make the story something that is worth remembering. So I would prefer your confidence is on point, your storytelling on point, your quote on point. But you can improve your intonation, your pauses, and how you present the whole speech. And if you can improve your content, that would make it perfect. We know there is nothing called perfection, but we can chase it, right? So best of luck, sir. So without any further delay, we would move on to the next speaker. Sir, I would have to remove you from the stream because we have so many speakers today. So best of luck, sir, Rodel. And the next speaker is going to be Noshin ma'am.
Yes,
Are you there?
yes, I am.
Yeah, ma'am. So if you're ready,
Can you
please
hear me?
start. Yes, ma'am. Before starting, I would like to introduce another one who is with us, Arafat Islam. Assalamu alaikum, sir. However, before we start off, Noshin ma'am, it would be really great if you just introduce yourself and then tell us your title or the topic, and then move on for the speech.
Okay. Hello, I am Noshin Tabassum Siddiqui. I read in inter second year in Joshua Government College. My title of today is Climate Change.
Yeah, ma'am, you may start your speech. When you start, I will start counting.
Okay, now I'm starting my speech. Hello. We stay in a modern world. In our modern world, who is not acknowledge climate change? Climate change is the most major problem in today's world. We all know what climate change is. Climate change is the global warming driven by the carbon dioxide emission by human-made causes and resulting in large-scale shifts in the weather patterns. Climate change is both natural-made and human-made. The natural causes includes the ocean currents, the changes in Earth's orbits, and the volcanic eruptions. But the major reasons are certainly human-made: combustion of fossil fuels, deforestations, using too much power plant, electricity, etc. causes climate change. The results of climate change are so vital that we cannot becoming more serious day by day as the ocean level is rising, the ice of the polars are melting, and the oxygen which we inhale for living is decreasing day by day. Right. As this problem is acknowledged by everyone, many countries and organizations like the UN is trying necessary steps to prevent it. But why it's not working? Because the major responsible for climate change is the developed countries, and though the developed countries are more responsible for this, the underdeveloped and developing countries like us have to suffer more. They want to splurge on their own development, but they do not care about the climate change at all. It is claimed by power production. Is it possible? Like the power we need so desperately is causing us this major carbon dioxide emission. So we should, of course, act to stop against it. To prevent climate change, the government of all countries should come forward, but we as individuals can also to take necessary steps forward.
Time's up.
Then reduce the uses of plastic. Then we should raise awareness at all levels to prevent climate change. At last,
Time's up,
let's
ma'am.
save our planet. Let's make our planet green again. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your insightful speech. To give a review about your speech, I would go one by one. First of all, about your structure, then your style, then the things you can improve. So, about your structure, what I would say that your structure, your speech was well structured. It was firm and strong about the things that your speech had a starting, about what it meant. Then it went how it occurred. Then it went who does that. Then you went for why not, about the counter argument, why don't people think it, why developed countries are the reason behind it. And then at the end you gave us solutions. So in that case I would prefer that, yeah, your structuring was on point about the five things that you included, about the five things that a speech needs to make it self-sufficient. But what you can improve in case of your style is that when you are speaking, yeah, it's good enough. You're giving it intonation. You are as it feels like as if you were speaking from the core. But one thing you can improve in case of style, that what makes a speech actually persuasive is the rhetoric device you can use in it. Suppose you're going to give a speech on a subjective matter like climate change, whether or not there are some influences of climate change in our life that can actually move our emotion. Can you remember the previous speech about the story that he started with?
Yes,
A speech
yes, I
always
do.
needs three parts. About I already talked about in the previous sessions. First part is about your ethical view, what it means to you, why should I listen to you, that you fulfill, that you gave your reasonings, your logics, your statistics. But what you can improve about the second part, that is pathos, that is about emotions. Your speech was well structured, but what you can do is bring out some emotions in it. It can be stories, it can be the fate we are going to have in future, it can be the nightmares we people face for a future where when 20% of the Bangladesh will be drowned in the seawater. So there are some things about emotions that can be connected with it. And after that, there comes the part of logos or logical reasoning. Your speech was fulfilled with that. I get it. But about the structuring, it was good. But about the presentation, how you influenced all those things, you have to make sure you have a balance between emotion, between statistics, and between your reasoning. So when there is this balance, then the speech is perfect. There is no scope to be skeptical about your speech, um, things or constituents that make your speech. And about your structure, about your style, it was good. But about the rhetoric devices that I'm telling you, you could add some stories, you could add some anecdotes, you could add some quotes, you can add some points that can make your speech much more mesmerizing. It feels like, wow, I didn't think that way, or I couldn't think this thing can be related with this topic. All right. So
Yes,
your
thank you
speech
so
was
much.
great, and you had so much courage to speak. Thanks a lot. And with this, we'll move on to the next speaker. Um,
Yes.
Sir Nahid, are you there, sir?
Can I say a few things about the review of our previous speaker?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure, sir. Rafat, sir, you may move on. Then we'll go for the next speaker.
Okay, madam, your speech was very nice, though. As far as I could listen to it, it was nice. And to the addition of Tasfin's review, I should say that you just have a little tiny problems, such as I noted some of it. Like you said, most major problems. When you were discussing the causes behind climate change, you said most major problems. Sorry. So that is
Yes.
actually a bit grammatically wrong. You have to say that you might say most debated problems globally, or it is one of the major problems which are being debated about. But you can't say most major. These are like Guru Chondali hai kind of. And
Yes, I will
after
keep
that,
that in mind.
yes, and after that, he said that there are some natural causes like volcanic eruption and the change of orbit, like when the Earth is revolving around the sun. Actually, that is a bit
Yes.
of illogical. I mean, I'm not meaning any offense, but uh, we are talking about climate change here. We're not talking about seasonal change, like due to the orbits, like when the earth is revolving around the sun, that is actually that results into seasonal change, like summer from rainy season and then winter, autumn, all these. But this does not actually affect climate. What we know is that weather of an area, according to like the BGS we learned, geography, I mean, uh, I
Yes.
might say that the weather is actually the condition, the geographical conditions of the environment of a certain area for about a week or a month. But climate is actually for 30 to 40 days, according to geography. So
Yes.
uh, you can call volcanic eruptions and orbit of the Earth as a natural cause for climate change. So I think you should take note of that. And
Yes, I
about
will.
that thing,
Thank you.
yes, you're most welcome. And about those that most major thing, I might suggest what you can do to avoid grammatical mistakes is that you might read newspapers, like you might read Daily Star or any other kind of English daily newspaper in front of the mirror. You can just keep on reading it like a reporter. That will kind of develop your way of speaking, and of course, it will develop your vocabulary. And most importantly, you will be able to avoid these kind of grammatical mistakes. So that is a good strategy to develop your speaking. Have a newspaper in front of a mirror and start speaking like a reporter. And that would be a very good habit. I suggest that for everyone. So I'd be done with that saying thank you very much, madam. We
Thank you.
might move on to the next speaker, Tasvin.
Yeah, sure. But before we do, the point that Arafat by Rose just remembered me of something that I should tell you, Noshin, about the fact that
Yes.
you were telling there are some natural causes and also there were some man-made causes. You have to know there are two philosophical schools debate, like Democrats and Republics. Some are saying that uh,
Yes.
climate change is a thing, and some are saying change isn't. So some people in 1970 there was a theory that Earth itself is making itself up. I mean the climate itself. There was a theory that in 20 years we're going to face a thing. We're going to face a huge climate change, but that didn't happen. So when it was in the 17th century, there was Earth was cooling itself down. Then people were thinking that one day the Earth will be again cooled down too much. So there are two different philosophical schools. Some think that climate change is not a thing that man can control, nature is not a thing man can control, and some think that nature is something that is harmed by us. So when you bring up two of the theories, two of the claims in the same speech, there is an argumentative fallacy. All right, yeah, that's a really good
Yes.
point. So that would be all. So we might so I would just request you to leave the stream because we have one another guest and we can just entertain all of them. Thank you,
Yes.
Noshin, for
Thank
being
you.
there with us. Thanks a lot.
Thank
And
you so much for
then we'll
having
move
me.
on to the next speaker, Mr. Nahid sir. Are you there?
Uh, am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible, sir. If you may start your speech after stating your title.
Thank you, Tashfin, for giving me the opportunity to speak. I'm Nahid from Borishal Cadet College. Currently, I'm studying in class 11. So today's topic is climate change, and at first, I want to thank Instant School for arranging such an opportunity of for English speaking. So that's a great initiative indeed. So I want to start my speech. Can I start, Tashfin?
Sure, sir.
Okay, thank you. So we hear it so much that it feels like a buzzword, but it is far from it. Actually, climate change is a real and serious issue, but isn't the climate always changing? What exactly is climate change? Why should we care? Well, the Earth's climate has changed throughout the history. Most of these slight changes are caused by the small variations in the Earth's orbit. But climate change, as we know it today, is characterized by an abrupt increase in the Earth's temperature. It is estimated to have gotten 1.4 to 1.4, 1.2 to 1.4 degrees Fahrenheit warmer in just the last century. 10 out of the last 13 years were the warmest on record. 97% of climate scientists agree that this new tendency isn't caused by the variations of the Earth's orbit, rather, the human activity. We started breaking carbon dioxide emission records in 1950 and we stopped haven't since. So this is the major reason behind the climate change. And the main cause of climate change is burning fossil fuels such as oil, gas, and coal. Some gases that are in Earth's atmosphere that trap heat and stop it going the heat into the space. As a result, the atmosphere of the Earth is getting warmer day by day, and as a result, the climate change occurs. So why should we care? Why should we fear climate change, and why we have to take steps to prevent it? Actually, due to the climate change, many lower countries can be submerged because the sea belt is rising gradually. So that is the main problem. And in fact, Bangladesh have that has that possibility to submerge due to this climate change. So what steps can we take? What procedures can we take to stop this climate change? Actually, we can switch to 100% green power energy, and we can save energy, and we can make sustainable investment into that eco-friendly things. So within this and showing through doing this, we can prevent the climate change and we can save our mother planet, that is our earth. So that's all about
Time's
it.
up, sir.
Thank you all.
Yes, thank you. Thanks a lot, sir, for your courageous speech. So I would love to request Mr. Arafat, sir, for giving the review first. Then I will go.
Okay, thank you, Taswin, for giving me the floor. Can I know how much time we are giving to the speakers? How 3 minutes or what?
150 seconds.
Okay. Um, so nice, sir. I'd say that your speech was well organized, I might say, and you
150
seem very.
seconds. That is 2 minutes 30 seconds.
Oh, okay. So, about night, sir, I'd say that your speech was very much organized and you seemed prepared. And what the good points of your speech was that, like, which deserve to be praised, is that you keep asking questions in your speech, and that is a very good side, or very good, yes, a
Sorry,
side
sir, are
of
you
being a
there?
good speaker. Am I? Am I facing poor net connection? Hello, hello. Am I facing poor net connection? Hello, hello, hello. Can somebody tell me if I'm audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yes, you are audible now. Yes.
Yes,
What
sir,
I
you're
was saying is
audible.
that you ask a lot of questions in your speech, and that is actually a very much good side. When you are questioning your audience and you and then you own self give that answer, that actually looks very good to the audience. And you had a lot of statistics in your speech. That is also good. But at one point, you might have mentioned Fahrenheit, which might have been Celsius, maybe. I'm not sure. You should check it
No,
out if
that is
it's.
actually of Fahrenheit. I checked it in the valid sources from the authentic sources. Thank you.
Okay, okay. As far as I knew, environmental temperature is measured in Celsius. And that's what all I have to say about your good sides. Maybe Tasmin can now carry on. Thank you.
Um, yeah, thanks a lot for giving me the floor again. So about the review, I would go in a normal way that I do. First the structure, then the style, then how to make it better. So about the structure, I would tell in case of the introduction that you gave, there was a question, and I really loved it because the question is something that can make audience ask themselves. But what you could do, you could give a pause after that question, and when you answer it slowly, that's when the audience realize what you're trying to say. That's when your speech is unique. Whatever, the intro was good enough. The afterwards, the whole body of the speech was arranged in WH questions: why, how, and these things. And it made me feel that these questions is the reason your speech was so much structured, felt structured to us, the audience. And about the style, I would prefer, yeah, your style was up to the mark, but what you can do, it can bring some naturality to it. First of all, you can just go in front of the mirror, talk with yourself so that you realize how your voice works, how your facial expressions work, how your hand movement work, so that when you speak, there is hand movement, there is gesture, there is posture, there is facial expression, and also intonation. And that can make your presentation of the style way more better than it is. And in case of how can we make it better, your speech was eloquent and articulated enough. So was your message. But about the presentation, it's your presentation is more like a fragrance of the flower of the speech. If the speech is a flower, then your presentation is the fragrance. So when you're giving this kind of presentational devices like intonation, the up down of the voice, and your facial expression, not like you're reading out something, that's when your speech can be way a good speech can be a great speech. So that's all I would like to say. Your structure was good enough, your speaking style was on point, but there is always a scope to improve yourself. Best of luck. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Tashfin and Arafat, for giving me such a nice review. Thank you. And thanks to Instant School again.
Welcome, sir. We're always happy to help you. However, we'll move on to the next speaker. Adit, sir, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. If you're ready, please state your title. If there is any different title other than the topic, other than the theme, then you might start your speech. I will be counting your time after you start your speech.
Thank you very much, Instant Public School and College, to give me this opportunity. And I'm Mr. Sharian Jumadid in front of you, a student of Bora Cantonment Public School and College of Class 10. And first of all, I would like to congratulate my mentors and my viewers in the bunch of Night Queen. And today's our topic is the most discussed topic in the present world, and that is climate change. And as we know that the climate is changing from the beginning of the earth, but rather okay, last few centuries we are seeing that the human activities have begun to influence the nature, and this is the problem. And this is not a problem, and the problem is that the nature is also trying to influence us, and it is just like a tit for tat. We are doing some different kind of activities that is show okay, that it harms the nature, and thus our nature is harming us also. And the thing is that the human are causing deforestation, different kind of they are burning fossil fuels, and etc etc. And by that they are the carbon the these things release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, and after that this carbon dioxide causes a great loss of the earth, and this is the problem. And after that we are seeing that global warming, in ice are melting, our oceans are getting aciduous, and this and etc etc. So none of this is rhetoric and none of this is hysteria. It's a fact, and it is our own duty to solve this problem. And again, it is a question of our not our politics, it's a question of our own survival. And so I would like to say that at from when I know about the climate change, that we should a different kind of organization have been set up to eradicate this problem. But our activities don't show that we are really concerned, and we are really not concerned about the climate change. Because last month I read a newspaper, and in this newspaper I saw that every day 85 barrels of crude oil are burnt every day, and these things release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. And as we know that carbon dioxide emission is the main problem, or I mean the main cause of climate change. And that's all about my speech. Thank you very much, Instant Public School and Speaking Club.
Thank you, sir, for your speech. Though it was a speech for 120 seconds, that is 2 minutes, you covered it up a lot. So, without any further delay, I would request Mr. Arafat, sir, for giving the review first.
Okay, thank you, Tasfin. Am I properly audible and visible?
Yes, you
Yes,
are.
you are visible, sir.
Okay, Mr. Adit, sir, I'd say
Yes, sir.
from at the beginning of your speech, I'd say that your speech had a very formal approach, and that sounded really nice to hear. And
Thank
about the bad
you.
side is that you discussed and covered a lot of what is climate change and what it's doing to us, how it's happening, and all the stuff. Discussed it and covered it a lot and very nicely. But one problem was that you didn't offer much solutions to it, like what we can do to prevent climate change.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
climate change is, what should I say, it's affecting us in a very bad way, and it's happening globally. And
Yes, yes, it's
but
right.
you have to offer some solution. Is there anything you couldn't hear?
Sorry if you hear me, so I don't hear you. If you replay it again for me.
Hello. I was saying that you covered a lot about what is climate change and what it's doing to us, and it has a lot of bad effects on us. You told all of that, but you really didn't offer much solutions. You need to work on that too. Like just except just discussing the problem, you also have to offer some solutions, probable things what we can do to stop and prevent climate change. Also, another thing was that I would suggest is that you need to work on your, just as the previous speaker, Mr. Knight, sir, you have to work about on your body language, facial expressions, and all. Your speech was very informative, I must say, but it needs to have a bit more emotion and needs to be more lively. Like when you are saying that we are burning carbon dioxides in factories, and that is um, giving a rise to the water levels. When you're saying that, you should move your hands like you are picturing it with your hands. When you are saying that carbon dioxide emissions are coming out from factories, and that is giving a rise to ocean water levels, you need to work on your hands a bit. Just accept speaking
Yes,
and
yes, I will try.
providing information. So solution or way to developing that would be standing in front of a mirror and seeing, just as Taswin said for the previous speaker, you should see how it works, and you might follow some videos of good speakers for our country, and you might, yes, it's all about of practice. If you stand in front of a mirror and see how your hands work, and you know how your hands are meant to work, and you when your face is meant to go where, then I believe that should help, and it will require a lot of practice. That's all I have to say about you, sir. Thank you, and Tasfin might carry on now.
Thank you, Arafat Islam, sir,
Thank
to
you,
give me some
sir.
purpose.
You're most welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir, for giving me the floor again. Um, when I was listening to his speech, when he started, actually, I felt like it was the inaugural speech of John F. Kennedy's presidency. When it was the in 1960, I don't remember the year, but in the inaugural speech of John F. Kennedy, he started that way, and the content of his speech was the way you presented it. And there was a point in your speech, it's not a hysteria, it's a fact, right? There was another
Sorry, sir.
line, like just like it's a fact. There was a line, right? So there was also a line
Yes.
like that in John F. Kennedy's speech in his inauguration. So when I was listening to his speech, I felt like, yeah, it seems to be the same. So in why I'm telling you this, right? In his speech, if you check the inaugural speech of John F. Kennedy, you will find out there was a line stating that let us not negotiate with fear. Let
Yes,
us
sir.
never
Right.
fear to negotiate. So these two lines was maybe like the turning point. So was your line, it's a fact. So when you are saying it's a fact, you stated it's not a hysteria. It's a fact. The slow voice, the lower you are. So all of this makes the speech much more better than it is. So I would
Yes,
be
sir.
telling you, when you're giving a speech, don't give it like a speech. Remember always that a public speaking is a combination of drama, poetry, facial expression, act, and storytelling. So all of this, the balance between all this together, make your speech too easy to digest to the audience. Because when you are speaking like a robot, suppose you are not giving any kind of intonation, or there is no eye movement, or even your lips are not moving, then it feels like that you're not one of
I'm
the
a robot.
audience.
Yes.
When you act, you are one of the audience. That's an only when your audience is going to listen to you carefully, as if it's more like a talk after the dinner in your dinner table with your family.
Yes.
That's the essence of a public speaking. However, about the structure, it was well structured. You had reasons, you had the whole structuring, how you turned around in the it's a fact point. That was your turning point in your speech, to be very honest. So about the
Thank you.
solutions that already Mr. Arafat stated, I would reiterate them that in case of the solutions, you can do one thing, whether wrap up all of your speech and then tell what can be the solution in one sentence in case of going elaborate, or you can go for elaborated solutions. Because at the end of the speech, what we need is not, it's not an MUN where we need solutions, where we need draft resolution or even working paper. It's a
Yes.
speech where we need satisfaction. It's a speech where we need a reason, because we have heard you all these 120 seconds. Why? Your conclusion must resonate. So that would be all
Yes,
from my
sir.
side. So we might have a next speaker, Mr. Tafsin.
Thank you, Tafsin, sir. I will try at my best to solve this problem in the next session. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Thanks a lot for taking the courage. So we will move on to the next speaker, Miftul Jannat Nam.
Before we do, can I say something like to all of
Oh,
our
sure.
viewers? To all of our viewers, I would like to say that someone commented, Mr. Tamjid Mahmood, sir. He said, "Sir, I want to tell something. Can I? I want everyone to know that it's totally you can be feel free to ask anything in our comment section, and when we are done doing the present review, I mean the review of the present speaker, we will answer any queries you have, sir. So instead of commenting for a permission to say something, just I would request everyone to directly ask what they want to say, or want to know, or want to say. Thank you.
So yeah, please feel free to ask any question in the comment box. We'll try to answer them as efficiently we can. Um, then Miftul Janat ma'am, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Would you mind to turn on your video? It would be better to review
Okay.
about your presentation. So if you don't mind, if you are ready, then you might start your speech. I will just start counting your time.
Yes, thank you for giving me such an opportunity. I'm Mifta Hujjanat, student of Bogor Public School and College. So today our topic is climate change. Climate change is a change in global or regional climate patterns. It refers to the rise in average surface temperatures on Earth. Climate change is the most discussed issue in the present world, and it attracts the attention of people from all walks of life in local and global lives. Environment scientists and activities are mostly concerned about the quick changes of climate. The main cause of climate change is the burning of fossil fuel, such as oil and coal, which emits greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. Mostly carbon dioxide. Other human activities such as agriculture and deforestation also contribute the increase of greenhouse gases that causes climate change. The climate is changing rapidly. It leaves the impact on the developing countries. These impacts include temperatures rise, greenhouse and carbon dioxide gas emissions, regular rainfall, certainly intrusion, rise of floods, cyclones, storms, droughts, and drought, etc. No doubt, these seriously affect the agriculture and livelihood of the developing countries. Bangladesh, for its geographical location, is likely to be the most affected. A 1 meter sea level rise will submerge about one-third location is likely to be the most affected. A 1 meter sea level rise will submerge about one-third of the total area of Bangladesh, which will uproot 25 to 30 million people of Bangladesh. At last, I want to say that to reduce the bad impact of climate change, people should be aware. We should plant more trees and stop using harmful climate chemicals to reduce the bad impact of climate change. Students should be careful to protect the environment and raise raise awareness. In fact, to reduce the bad impact of climate change, all of us should work hard. Otherwise, our existence will be stake.
Time's up, ma'am. So, Mr. Arafat, sir, would you like to give a review on it?
Sure. Ma'am, your speech was, the structure of your speech, I should say, was pretty fine. First, you discussed what it is, what climate change is, then you discussed the causes, and then how it's affecting us, and you discussed a lot about that. And a good thing you discussed, and we all should discuss, I should say, in any topic, is that bringing the perspective of our country, and you did that very well. Thank you very much for that, ma'am. That is a good side of your speech. You pointed out that what is going to happen to Bangladesh out of all the world, what is going to happen to Bangladesh due to the effects of climate change? And you had very good statistics, I should say. I should praise them. You had a small little problem regarding your pronunciation, which was you meant to say livelihood, but you said livelihood. So I think you should work a bit on that, on your pronunciations. And ma'am, I would strongly suggest you to develop your fluency, because at most a lot of times you stop for a pretty long time, which is actually a bit peculiar to your audience. So you should try to work on your fluency, and a solution to that would be sorry, Whenever you're alone, you can speak to yourself regarding any topic. You can give yourself any topic, or you don't even need to give yourself a topic. You just start speaking to yourself whenever you're alone, or in your room and you have nothing to do. In your free time, I mean, you can just start reviewing whatever you did from your morning, how your day started, how you woke up, what you did, what you had for lunch, what did you do in the afternoon, what did you do in your evening, and what you're doing right now. So you can just talk to yourself. That would develop hugely help you develop your fluency. And if you do that, I would say your speech would be a very perfect one. And that's all I have to say. And also, it would be better if you, like in any public speaking session or competition or anything, you should place your camera a bit in a stable position. Like place your camera, don't just hold it in your hand. In that way, what you can do is if you're giving expressions, if you're moving your hands, then those will be visible. But if your hand is busy holding your mobile phone or your device, then it can't really be visible. Only your face is going to be visible. So what you should do is place your device a bit farther from you, so that you, from your head to at least your chest is visible, so that way if you move around, that will be visible and that will look good. So that's all I have to say about you, ma'am. Your speech was beautiful. Thank you.
I want to review first. I'm gonna ask you one question. I was looking at you the whole time you were giving a speech. I was looking at your eyeballs, and I could see them moving horizontally from left to right. And it did feel like you were reading out. Were you reading out something? To be very honest, be honest.
You too.
Did you, ma'am? It's not anything annoying or awkward. It's normal. Just share it to us.
Hello, ma'am. No, like when you are delivering your speech, your eyes seem to be a bit out of eye contact. So it kind of seemed like you were reading anything. So like we would just want to know if you could say honestly if you were reading anything, like reading out your speech. And it is actually completely okay.
Okay, if you don't want to tell us, then it's all right. It's literally all, yeah.
But what
But
would we
then I will go
suggest
for the
is
review.
sure, sure,
Oh
sure,
yeah,
sure.
go on, go on, go on. Uh,
No, please, yeah, acha. But I would say that it's completely all right if we do that, but it's not suggested to, because it won't always, you won't always have a dais where you can will be able to speak, place your script and read it out. So it's not going to be always possible like that. And if you really want to develop your speaking skills, then it's all right to have a speech, a script, a piece of paper with you, which will have contain all the points. But it's not really ideal to read out anything, and that will actually become a bad habit, I'd say. That's just it. Like I'm meaning no offense.
yeah. So
Okay,
don't
that
be
is fine.
embarrassed. I'm at fault here because I was the one looking at your eyeballs the whole time. Yeah. So what I would suggest next time, if you're gonna read out, read out. I prefer you read out from a script. There is no problem. Literally no problem. Rather you keep the script right in front of you, you say three words of a sentence, looking at it, then give yourself some intonation and then look at us and then give a speech. There is no problem. Because in most of the stations or most of the formal stations, people do read out. In debates, people do read out from their script. It's not something embarrassing. But what I would suggest, if you're reading out, make sure there is a balance between. You do look at it, you look at us, and then you connect with us. And when you start looking at us and then again looking at the script, it will by default turn in a confidence that you can look at your audience. And when you'll find out, Jay, you have already things that you know you're going to speak about, then if you take the courage to speak without a script any day, you will be able to. It's nothing embarrassing. Just trying to speak, try to connect even when you're reading out a script. That's not something, that's not a flaw. I was just asking it for, anyways, I was just asking, never mind. But this time,
We meant no offense, madam. I just say script should have the script should be there to help you if you are stuck or if you are facing problems to continue. But like just as he said, Tasmin said, you can read out or you can just read the first word or the keyword of a sentence. Then you should be. It is good if you are able to deliver the whole sentence to the audience. That would look nice. Like if you just even if you can speak from your script, that is all right, but you should also keep eye contact with your audience. That will be more of an interactive approach in your speech. So Tasmin, if you continue.
yeah, that was all about the thing of reading out. I don't think reading out is a fault, not even a flaw. Rather, we all, none of us were speakers overnight, right? So we did start with saying things to our friends, and then if we're gonna go for a structured speech, we will need scripts. We need to memorize it. We need to go for practice over and over again. Most of the people in TEDx give a speech by memorizing a script. So it's okay to give a speech from a script by writing it down. That's when your speech is much more structured. But if you're going to start it, go slowly, but do have the courage to look at others. That's what I'm going to say about the eye contact. However, about the other things you wrote down, your writing down was definitely on point, logical as well. And as Mr. Arafat said, there was also a point about Bangladesh, right? Sorry. So there are these things in a speech. They're called allusion. So allusion is a rhetoric device. Allusion is something you refer to a date, a place, or a person that happened to be in the future, or we can connect. So these allusion can make us confuse your audience and can make your speech much more visual. For any of the public speakers out there, I would just say one thing. After you're done making your speech, be it written or be it spoken, remember one thing. You have to make sure, you have to ask yourself one question. Can I see my audience what I'm speaking? Can I show my audience what I'm trying to show them? That's when your audience can visualize what you're trying to say, that's when your speech is successful. So that would be all about the structure and the style. We all know about intonation. We all of us, mostly all of the speakers today, lacked a few points about pauses or intonation, where to give stress and where not to. So that would be all from my side for this speaker. Anyways, I would request Arfat for giving review about the whole session and a few words on public speaking so that we can come to the conclusion.
Okay, thank you, Tasmin, for giving me the floor. Um, at first, I'd say that I'm sorry for technical issues. I couldn't attend at the beginning of the session, so I wasn't present the whole time. I was present from 15th minute or so. From all the speakers, I've seen that, as you have said, that they all the speakers lack a bit in the expressions, the presentation of speaking. Like I of course praise some of the speakers for their statistics and informative approaches, and of course, their speeches were nice. Their fluency was also good. The fluency of most speakers were good, just I believe the speakers of today's session need to work on their presentation. And just as I have said, for fluency, we can read newspapers like a reporter. And when we are doing so, we should use our hands also to visualize what we are trying to say. Like when you are stressing a word, you should show that you are stressing a word. When you are pointing something far away, you should raise your hand towards that. When you are trying to make a point, show with your hands that you are trying to make a point. Just like this. You are trying to make a point. So these small habits of presentation should be practiced by all of us, I believe. And I'm happy to see that today's session was a very interactive and fruitful one. And I'm really happy to see people from lots of places. participating and joining with us. So I love to see things grow. I love to see Instant School Public Speaking Club grow. That's all I'd have to cover about today's session. Thank you, Dustin. And thank you, everyone.
So I would go for the curtains of the conclusion. So about the whole session, I would say we all know what to do. We all know we have to improve intonation, expression, presentation, fluency, and all the things that are in that speech. But how? The question is how, not what. So after all this hearing session, the 7 viewers that are with us, I would request all of them, make sure that when you are practicing, you speak as if you are the one to speak from the core. If you're telling a story, act like you are telling a story. It's not something robotic or even you're reading out. Act like it. It's a story which matters to you, and tell us why it matters to you. When we will find out it matters to be heard, that's when you are successful as a public speaker. About fluency, you need to find out how to keep speaking with yourself, not only in front of the mirror. Wherever you go, ensure that you are speaking. The voices inside are always turned on so that you can be fluent no matter wherever you are, no matter however you are, no matter whatever you have to speak upon. And about the last part, that is content, I would suggest there is never a better place for content than your own brain, your own memories. Your own stories are the most unique stories because you have seen them. No one else in the world. You were the only one to witness them. And that's why when you're going to go for stories, you're going to go for content, go for the things that you see first, that comes in your eyes first, that your perspective can catch. After you're done with it, go in a bigger value. Like you can go for a historical point, then a personal point of view, then a social point of view, then a national point of view, then a global point of view. You already have 5 points to talk about in climate change. See, that's how content emerges from a small point. They say a small drop of water can create a whole ocean. A small point of perspective of yours can create a whole speech, not only regarding you, rather regarding the whole global calamity that we're going to face, be it climate change or be it global warming. So, what I would suggest, keep practicing. There is only one way to improve yourself: practice, practice, and practice. So, when you never give up, you can ensure that you are a great speaker. Not only a public speaker, a speaker worth hearing, worth remembering. And with this, I would like to draw the conclusion of today's hearing session. Next time you're going to speak, remember one thing: you have to speak what you think you need to speak from the core. So, with this, I would like to
Dustin, can I
conclude.
add some words to your
Yeah, of course.
suggestions?
I was going to give you the floor for concluding this session.
Yes, like
However, go for it.
whenever I listen to your suggestion, some things keep popping inside me too. So I would like to add that Tasfin, what you just said, like speak to yourself whenever and wherever you're going. That I actually do that a lot of times. Whenever I'm walking in the road or in a street, all alone by myself, I try to speak to myself, and I speak a bit loud. At least I whisper to myself, not just in mental. I mean, not just inside your mind. And that really doesn't matter if a pedestrian passes you by and gives a weird look to you. That doesn't matter. He doesn't matter in your life. Your skill in speaking matters in your life. And another crucial suggestion I have for everyone is that when we are speaking to ourselves or when we are thinking to ourselves, at least make sure that you are speaking. If you are not speaking, you are thinking to yourself. And when you do think to yourself, make sure you are speaking, I'm sorry, you are thinking in English. Like, a big mistake we all do, or most of us do, is that first, when we are thinking about content, we first think it in Bangla and then translate it to English before we speak it out. You think in your brain in Bangla, but then You translate it on the way, and that takes up a lot of time, and it's not, the translation is not always up to the mark. So we all need to develop a habit of thinking in English. Whenever you're talking to yourself about reviewing what you did the whole day, আমরা কখনো এভাবে ভাববো না যে হচ্ছে আমি সকালে উঠলাম, তারপর আমরা তারপর এটা করলাম. Rather we will try to think to ourselves like I woke up at 7 a.m., then went to the washroom and get freshed up. I brushed my teeth, then went to there, and this. Like, think in English. That habit will help you a lot in fluency and of course in making content. So that's all I have to add. So Taswin, maybe we can conclude the session now. Thank you.
Yeah. So the ending sentence of mine is going to be, the biggest treasure of yours is you yourself. Nothing else matters. Keep practicing, keep improving no matter what. So with this, we'd like to conclude. Thank you all who has joined. Thank you all who has viewed it till the end. And thank you all who is going to shine even a bit of knowledge if you had from this session. Keep improving, keep practicing, and keep speaking and keep thinking. Thank you.